Good evening, everybody. Every time I go into a class, I like introduction, but I think I'll skip that part today. Maybe after the meeting, we'll meet ourselves and do that. My name is Onoja Daniel. Beyond introducing myself to people, I like to meet people. I like to know people. So I'm a cinematographer, as is introduced. I'm not too much. It's practically said most things about me. A filmmaker and a photographer. Both my passion, those are things I do. And I'm one of those people who left secondary school wanting to be a photographer and a filmmaker. I wasn't one of those people that wanted to be an engineer or a doctor or a lawyer. I wanted to be a photographer actually first. I'll tell my story. I'll tell you a short story first. I like to tell stories. But when I got out of school back then, 2099 then, there were no photography, official schools for photography back then. I think there were one or two, I learned about one or two film schools, and that's how I got into film, But I will always tell people that life was a lot easier when we were imagining what we wanted to be than when we became what we wanted to be. Who can relate to that? When you wanted to be a fashion designer, you thought of how you are going to be a big fashion designer. Just the imagination first was awesome and everything. You learn how to make clothes and you start making clothes for people until you learn how to make clothes. And then the people that you're supposed to make clothes for are not coming again. Who experienced it? As in real life. Yeah. I wanted to be a doctor, I wanted to be an engineer or something, and you went to school, this civil engineer, you were so happy, and you came out, and there was nobody ready to give you the jobs to do. And that was real life. Real life was depressing. I went to film school, one of the sharpest, I was so fast and everything, learned quickly, and then I came back. I went to one or two places where some people said, just keep doing what you want. I didn't even have a camera or a laptop, so how do I want to do what I want? Somebody has to give me a job first now to do what I want. If I had a camera back then or a laptop, I should have been doing what so it became difficult, And I tried, I went to some places, went to look for work. They told me, they have people here. I can, no space for me and everything. And there were a few of us back then. There were not much people trying to do, so-called film and all those things back, especially in this area. If you go to Lagos, they were there in Lagos. And it was so difficult, young me, 19, 20. And I went back for another round of suffer. I took up my certificate. I barely gentleman result, secondary certificate. And my jam that I almost made cutoff, and I never made cutoff. And I went to apply and went to the university. With a talent, with something doing. I had something doing that was good. I was working for one or two churches. But I was limited. I couldn't explore myself. I wanted to do more. I wanted challenges, and I went back to school. I needed a degree. That my training or whatever I did in film is not enough to give me. And I was like, so my talent, as good as I am, I cannot get a job until I get a certificate, a degree. And I went back to school to do what I did not want to do, because what I wanted to do was film, and there was no school in Nigeria back then. I don't know if there are schools now offering degrees in filmmaking in film, but there were no schools back then giving degree certificates in film. Just trainings, JOS and one or two places, NTA, doing trainings that we did. And I got into school, not happy. Remember, I was not happy. But 2 years into school, I was still doing what I was trying to do, trying to balance, my passion, going to places where people who had computers and cameras work, and trying to just hang around. Mostly were churches, because churches were the people who I didn't need to have certificate, and I could hang around and do what I needed to do. And my second year in school, I now met somebody who told me about somebody who is very big in filmmaking. Now, why am I telling you this story? Because I'm telling you, every time I remember this class, I follow it online and I see this mentorship class, I know how far I would have gone if I had an opportunity to be in a place like this when I left my film school. But I didn't have any opportunity. But somebody passed to me, and then about this guy who was so big, so good in film and everything, and who has issues, this problem that you have somebody who you look up to as a mentor, but you don't know how to assess that person. This is the person I want to be. I want this person to mentor me, but I cannot assess this person. That was my problem now. But I knew that I was going to assess that guy. And what did I do? I raised another money and approached him and said, I wanted to train under you. And I started another training under him. And when I started training, he realized that everything he tried to teach me I already knew. And he asked me, what are you looking for again? I said, don't worry, just be teaching me. Even though I knew it, keep teaching me. But there was something that I learned so much there, He understood why I came. He knew that I did not just come to learn afresh. He knew I came to understand him. Do you understand? To understand why he's where he is and what took him to where he is. Like, why are you so big in Abuja? Every time the whole job, the whole montage and stuff on NTA, everybody is you, the documentary is you, and credit. Why are you always there? That was why I paid that money, to understand why he was there. And that was the best thing that happened to me in life. Even though I wished I would have known that earlier. I wished I would have found him earlier. I wished I would not even gone to pay the film school. I wish I had started with him. Because the film school, they trained us, everybody's certificate go, you can go back, you can go home, and we went home. Like I said, more confused. In fact, that was the beginning of real life for me at a young age. But being with this guy was when I knew that a lot of young people need to understand the role of mentors in their life. You might know you might know as much as you can know. You might be very good. But this problem, how do I understand what I know? Now, there are a lot of things I discovered that I should have learned before even going to learn filmmaking. Personal relationship, branding, packaging, approaches, business plan, and all those things. I thought those things were not important. I thought, well, if it's so good. And now a lot of young people have that problem. They're very good in what they do, but people don't use them, people don't work with them because they refuse to learn the things they needed to learn first. Or the things that come with creativity, or the things that come with that talent. A lot comes with your talent. Learning manners afresh, or learning things, how you relate to people, how you talk with people. A lot of things come with that, and that's why so many of you are wondering, what am I doing wrong? Your pieces are, for you, those of you that are designers, your pieces are masterpieces. For those of you that are painters and anything, you have masterpieces, but you see people who are doing less than you, somewhere that you're not, and you'll be asking yourself questions. Why? Who else asked that question? Like, I see people really make work clothes, and they are big, they're up there. And I see some young people make great, awesome outfits, and they go approach this person that this clothes you're wearing, I can give you a better clothes. And they actually give the person free clothes, and the person still goes back to that other person. You wonder why, right? Now, those are the other elements that you need to introduce into what you already know. And you would not have known that because they don't teach you that in school. Those things are not taught in our schools today. I remember when I was graduating and one of my lecturers told me, of course, I'm never ashamed of telling him how he told me that I'm not going to graduate this year because I failed. And I looked at him and I said, you failed. I did not fail. I told him, I started counting. I said, I know this is what I do. I have an office. I have trained people. I have staffs. They are successful. And here you are telling me that I failed. When you were supposed to teach me how to do this thing and you failed. And I told him, and he said, he said I was not going to leave this school for telling him that. I said, no, but let's be realistic. Did not understand the numbers. They somehow passed. I don't know why you think that. You thought you did well by making them pass. Now, that was not me being rude to the man, but it was me not happy with the system. Not understanding us as individuals. But do you know what the mentor does to you? Like he said, he's in that field, he's in that line. So he understands you as an individual. He understands you based on what you are doing. And nobody is too big for mentorship. First things first. That's the wrong notion you need to remove. You think you get to a point where you are too big. Like you are the one that's the mentor now, so you are not supposed to be. You don't need mentors anymore. And turn around for me, and every time I keep telling young kids, I keep telling them, hard work is not enough. Being very creative and very smart is not enough. Knowing what you know how to do very well is not enough. I am not going to tell you that I'm not saying it like most of us don't know already. Go and check around. Go on Instagram. You know, I've seen somebody painting. He paints like he took the picture. Like it was a digital camera taking photograph. So every time he paints Mavon, he gives Mavon for free. So that Mavon can come back to him, but Mavon never comes back to him to make another paint for money. Tells him thank you, take pictures with him, shake hand, and meanwhile somebody is throwing a ball of paint on the wood and putting $10 million on it, and everybody's buying it. You're like, why? You know, he picks up his hand and does this, and everybody is on auction and everybody wants to buy it. And you're like, what's the story? Now, and I told you people, and I said something. There are other elements beyond your art. One of it is packaging. Second is, how should I put it? Another element, packaging and understanding that particular sector that you are. Now, the business, people call it the business of that sector. And let me tell you the truth, the only way you can learn the business of that sector is learning off somebody who is in it. Like maybe I always say that the Igbo man apprenticeship is now being studied. Because it is a working system. You know, it's a system that works. So people begin to look at it that, how come there are plenty Igbo, there are plenty rich, so many rich people at this particular region. And they now start tracing it down to their apprenticeship system. How one person stays with one person for long. And by the time he leaves, he now duplicates that person. So when that person has 10 people around him, when those 10 people are leaving, they are now duplicating that one person's success into 10. Do you understand? You know, there's something I used to, the diagram I used to draw, I would have used the board, but the board is not there. And I call it the stool. You know? The stool, the top of the stool is like your platform where you have to start putting your success and delivering your things and everything. But a lot of us have not been able to stabilize that platform. So you can't even put anything on it. Because every time you drop one thing, it falls off. It falls off because it's not standing. And I call it the three-leg theory of the stool. The stool needs 3 legs to stand. A lot of us, our stool is standing with just 1 leg. And what is supposed to be on top of that stool? Collections of your success stories. That's when you have to start saying, okay, I've done this, this is who I am, this is who I am, this is who I am, putting this thing, but your stool is not standing, so you can't even put anything on it. So nothing can be on top. Now, what are the 3 legs of the stool? One of the legs, I always tell people, one of the legs is hard work. Now, a lot of us are standing our stool, with 1 leg. One of the leg, which is hard work. Can this stool stand like this? Now, that is how a lot of us have been balancing our stool. You're so hardworking. Very hardworking, but you would never stand. I'm not talking to anybody, yeah? Now, so many of us were in that, some of us were in that category for a long time, you see? Working so hard, and you're not seeing results. Because This is the top where the results, that balance the results. The results, the whole money, awards, well, everything, that is where it's the stool that carries everything. So until that stool balanced, nothing can. Now the second leg of that stool is what you are working on. That's the second leg of the stool. What are you working on? Do you know that some people are working hard? Well, they're working very hard doing nothing. Who knows that? Eh? Some people are very hard working. Working hard doing nothing. Every day they wake up very early. They don't sleep. 3 o'clock they sleep. 6 o'clock they are up. Eh? Yeah, every day you go to see them. Telling you about everything. But they are working hard on nothing. Or they are working, or they don't have any particular thing because they have so many things and they've not even figured out one thing. Now, for some of us, we've been lucky enough to have something that we're working on hard on. So we've been trying to balance our stool with 2 legs. And we've been trying to do well. So it stands for a while and it falls again. Because you're working hard and you're working on something. Which means you have something, you have a talent, you have a tool. Do you understand? And so every time you walk and you have something, the stool balances for a while. You know how you can balance it for a moment for 2 legs, and then it goes like this, that way again, and falls again. So sometimes you just maybe like 200K enter your account, is staying there, it's as if the things are growing, Another one enter, then the next thing, when the things start getting to this side, you're trying to balance it here, so you're standing, so your mind is standing because you're trying to put all the things here. Then here gets filled up. And then the moment you just drop that first one here, and guess what? Every other thing. Not in that time, that's how you used to remember that there was one job you did that they paid you 1 million, and then 2 months later, your account is minus 0. That was the form that happened there. And you're back to square one. And who will tell me the third part of this too? Yes, a mentor. Who are you working with? The third leg. Who are you working with? Who are you working with? This third leg has arms. They are team. There's a team. You have a team. You have a, how should I put it? Mentors and trainers are 2 different things. You have a director in your office that's actually just directing you what to do. And he doesn't want you to learn from him actually. He just tells you what to do and you do it. Do you understand? They have directors and then they have mentors. So on this balance, this is the tree. And guess who's the most important part of this team? The mentor. The mentor can be your director and your team. So some of you are working on, some of you have the third leg, you have a team, no mentor, so you are balanced for a while. The problem with this third leg is that without a mentor is that this third leg might be, it's not standing where it's broken around here. Without a mentor. But it's well balanced for a long time with a mentor because the mentor never goes away. Your mentor dies does not mean your mentor has gone. Usually, if Miles Moron was my mentor, because he's dead does not mean he stopped being my mentor. I benefited from him. But a director lives today. All of you are confused because he has the master plan and he brings out little by little from the master plan and tell you what to do, what you do. The moment he's not there, you don't know what's next on that plan. And then this leg is gone again. But you see, with the mentor, that leg stays. Now, this is how to balance and get yourself prepared to accumulate all the wealth you want, all the knowledge, to accumulate success and everything on this particular table, on this particular stool, without falling. And I keep telling people, I said, the role of a mentor is so underrated. Now, I told my story. I said I learned my first big jobs were gotten from when the person I was under, I paid him to learn for like 4 months. After 4 months, I was with him for like 7 more years. In fact, I worked for him until he left Nigeria to South Africa. From South Africa, he went to Canada, Hollywood. But I was with him. After he finished, now while I was training under him, I was doing smaller jobs for him. So I came not just to come out, I paid him to come and work for him. Now, are you seeing how why a lot of us cannot find ourselves mentors? Because there are sacrifices that we don't want to. As soon as you finish learning that web design, you just think that everybody should be paying you, and you don't have to do anything for anybody for free, or you don't have to even just let. It's as bad as some of us paid to work for somebody. Because when I got into the system, when I got he was saying, okay, this is how you cut. You use Control-C, and I said, I know. I said, I know. He now gave me some small things. I finished it. You know, so that's how the jobs that he used to reject, that maybe were back then 30,000, 50,000. I'm talking about 2005, 2004, and 2004, that he used to say, no, I don't want to do it. He now used to collect it and say, and give me 5,000 or 10,000 transport, and I was just very happy doing it, finish it. And that's when I started learning. I was like, no, that thing you did here, it can be cleaner, it can be smoother, it is this, it is that. And I started understanding things I didn't understand before. My finishing started becoming better than people that I finished learning from in school that got jobs at the NCA immediately and everything. I started understanding more things. He started telling me secrets that, of course, they don't teach you. Because they need to come and pay for more master class or come to this before. I started learning master class because I paid to come and work for him. That's what I see. And for 7 years. Guess what? When he was living in Nigeria, I inherited like 90% of his clients first. Yes, I inherited. Because when he was leaving, he was not, my first NTA documentary was from him. They called him, he was not around. He said, go meet this name. That was fine. That was my first NTA and AIT gigs. I started getting deals with AIT and NTA. That's how my name got into that system. Because of a mentor, because of him.
And you have to pay to get it first.
Yeah.
I told them, when I was looking for my mentor, I had to save 400,000 to buy a suit. So that I can get to him. I said, I always said the relationship must first of all be sacrificial.
Yes. When cost or something, I say, well, I don't know, maybe when I get there, but from what I'm seeing, it's the same thing. But see that guy, I need to just be with that guy. And I keep telling people that every room you walk into, and you're the smartest person, don't stay too long there. Don't stay too long. If you walk into rooms and you are the smartest person, don't stay too long. It is good. You can be there for a while. And I'll tell you my reason why. It's because you are drained. When you are the smartest person in the room, they drain you, they take from you. They want to understand you. They want to learn from you. But what happens when you're in a room where every other person is smarter than you? You're the one draining them, right? Yeah, you're the one doing the draining. You are taking from them, you are getting from them, you are learning and everything. But a lot of us, the mistake we make is that we think we always have to be in the room that we are the smartest. Especially when it comes to arguments. You need to be the one to win the argument. You need to be the one who knows everything that happens. I tell people the best learners, the best innovators are always in the room. No matter how much they know, but they position themselves in rooms where they learn from somebody. I know people who always like to be where they're the one who know more than everybody. And they've been like that for the past. I know a property person who has connection to all the biggest property in Abuja. Every time you want to argue with him, he knows the owner of that place now. I know him for the past 10 years. I don't want to exaggerate, but maybe he has changed the suit or the shoe, but it's still the same color and the same distance for the past how many years. Still the same location. Because when you are talking to him and telling him how he can access certain properties that might be easy for him to sell everything. So it's not that building inside. He will say to you, I know the owner, and I don't follow the owner talk for you. Know, he's the one who owns he knows, he has contact, he has connection. But a lot of younger boys have gone into the property business. They're now into real estate development, building this thing and everything. But he's still looking for that document from me to give me, let him sell and make 10% and 5% and everything. I'm talking to you, but I'm saying I know this person for the past 15 years. He's still carrying one folder like that, one briefcase that has photocopies of plenty documents land that has been sold that he doesn't know that it's been sold. Because that guy, everybody complains about him. He always wants to be the smartest and the one who knows and has all the contacts. How about, and he has them. You search his number. So, same now, he owns that house now. But somehow, that his attitude has kept him where he is. Do you get? Oh, somebody who wants to help him will say, okay, no need to. You even know more than myself. How can I help you? That guy even helps more people than they help him. Somebody who is supposed to help him, you now give the person good contacts. The person will now go and use his own wisdom that he has learned from somebody bigger than him to land himself a deal that he couldn't learn from that person that he has the person's contact. I know of a story of this same guy who had the landed paper of one man who said in Asokoro back then, a land that was worth 150 million or something, that said, please, I think 120 million, he said, sell it 80 million, give me money. I need to carry my family and move out. I think it was a military man. They were looking for him or something funny. And he said, even the man said, even the 60. Now, this guy in question got offer for 180 million. This same guy I'm talking to you about. For that land that somebody wanted 80 million. That's 100 million profit. But he was insisting that it needs to be 200 million. Now you can see how his attitude of being that master of all knowing affected him. He said if it's not 200 million, he's not selling. And some other person that was offering 180 million located the landlord. And the landlord called him and said, somebody offered you 180 million for land with 50%. When I told you I was looking for 80 million emergency. He said, no, say the man is not a serious person. If the man had the money, he said, I've collected the money from the man already, don't worry. Say, I've collected the man already, the man has paid already. He said, no, landlord, you cannot let me suffer like that. He said, he's a military man now. Talk to him now. He said, so he had offer. And you knew I was looking for 80 million. As I'm talking to you, that guy is still, that's what I'm telling you. But if he was humble and he didn't have that character of all-knowing, of all smart, probably he would have been in a place where somebody would have advised him and he would have listened and, even though it's 120 million, just take, even what take. This is what you can do with 20 million. Start property, go to FCDA because he knows everybody in FCDA. Collect a property, start. He would have been bigger because I know people. I have this uncle, I had the girl who was small like this when he was doing this thing, who has her own estate and this thing now. So the point I'm trying to make, like I said, don't be in places where you are too smart. What I'm trying to say is that look for where you can learn from somebody. And like he said, you cannot learn from everybody. You can only learn from people who you admire, people who you think you want to be like them. And I added a fourth leg to the stool anyway. That was personal. I added a fourth leg because I needed that stool to stand very well. And it's been working for me a lot. And so that's my story. And I want to say thank you for having me around. And I know you're thinking, what's that fourth leg? Anyway, the fourth leg for me is a few drink, a few beer with friends. No,
It looks laughable.
it looks funny. But in my how many years of doing this business, of being into active business, that fourth leg has been very, very key. There were times that this leg, hard work, will fail you. The reason why the table was still standing because of that fourth leg. When I mean a few drinks with friends, a few, social life, very key. Of course, it wasn't part of the table, I added it to it. But because I'm telling my story, And I'm telling you how that fourth leg was able to help me in times and in periods. I know some of you have experienced times that you're just clueless. You know, you have people looking up to you, but you just wake up and you don't know what you want to do. All of us have experienced working for nothing now. You hard work, but you were hard work, you came all composed, all this thing, but yeah? There are people looking up to you, so you can't act like you are confused. So you just act like you're okay and all right, which means that moment, this leg was not there. But you didn't fall because they were friends. All you needed to do was to make it 1 or 2 calls, and you sit down and talk. Of course, useful friends. I don't do alumni. I don't do all those things. I'm not part of anything. The admin group, I go out. There was where you go down the store. I lost the phone. The phone is missing. It wasn't me that removed it. Because a lot of times I just select my friends and make sure that, like I said, we are giving somebody. I'm taking from you. You're taking from me. I have something to bring to the table. You have something to bring to the table. Do you understand? Because every time beer or something comes to the table, when you people have, okay, let me know it's beer, sorry. Anytime juice comes to the table, let me not sound like, everybody's looking at me like I'm on. And anytime there's refreshment and...
Your colleagues are
So every time there's refreshment and socialization on the table, with people of like minds, you realize that ideas come out of there. It wasn't the beer that is bringing the ideas. So some people used to say, after a smoky bowl, inspiration. Because it wasn't the inspiration, no. Sometimes it's like minds. It happened among like minds. 3 people there, they are doing the same thing. They're into music, take this thing this way, and you put this one on top, and this. That's what I mean by socialization. It can be on food. I do barbecue a lot, and I like that every time I'm grilling and roasting, and we are talking about some new ideas that come in. Are you sure we'll not do this thing? Are you sure we'll not do this? Are you sure this shouldn't happen? And then, that was on Saturday. On Monday, we are putting the whole pen into paper and bringing out everything. This thing. So, don't ignore that fourth leg. Very important. It will help you.
I can give you a testimony.
Can you give a testimony of you?
Very quickly.
Okay. We'll talk about it without that fourth leg. But I will never remove it from there. And I wanted somebody to ask me the fourth leg because I didn't want to be the one preaching the social thing, because a lot of people think it's overrated, but it's not overrated. So long story short, I really appreciate a program like this. I think even when I heard of my mentor, his name is Kenneth Ugbo, very, very big right now. He's a visual effects, VFX artist, credited with movies like Game of Thrones, Avengers, Black Panther, and all those movies. And I spent so much time with him, even when he left. When he was coming back, he was so proud when he came back one time to shoot a movie, and he wanted me to produce. And he was like, he had so many people that worked under him, but he's proud of what I turned out to be. And I reminded him that all those people you're talking about, 1 month, 2 months, when they learn, they buy laptop, buy camera, they open office. They are still in that same office. They are still in that same office that they opened since that time till now. They don't learn finish, they don't learn well. They just got the basics and everything. Of course, some of them had budgets and all those things. So as they finished, when they just learned after our 2-month program and everybody was going, I decided to stay back. I had a laptop. Some of them bought the camera, bought laptop, open office. Like I said, not like they did bad, but you see, in life, you keep finding how to grow. And didn't learn how to grow. I learned how to grow from him. One of the things he taught me was not to being too stiff with things like pricing in business. So some people see it as wrong. He was like, he told me that in his business that he doesn't give discounts to newcomers, but they have a trial, a test system to come and test him and see. And he let them know that this thing you're coming to, this thing you're paying me, this 10 naira you're paying me, is 18 naira. I'm taking 10 naira from you so that you can see what I can give to you. After that, it goes back to 18 naira. Some of us used to just stand on that 18 naira. Some of us call it packaging, we call it, this thing. A lot of people, your way, your style, I don't want to sell my own style to everybody. But that was when I learned how to gather myself clients. And it got to a point that I was not looking for clients anymore because I didn't need to do advert because I had like maybe 4 clients or 5. That by the time they pay me here, my house rent is paid, a new camera is added to my collection, a new stand is added to my collection, office rent is paid, everything. It was just 4 clients. He taught me how to retain clients, how not to work with somebody and they don't come back to you again. That's a big business problem. A lot of people don't understand. If I start on that topic, it's a very long topic. I will not talk about that one today. Why is it that some people that you work with, they enjoy what you did, they love your work? Of course, we all experience it. Even me, I still experience it. There are people that you might not be able to work with. But if you start having too much of them, if you are not able to keep that person, some people have that person that they make clothes for. If there's nothing you can do, you cannot take that person away from them. That's a skill. You need to learn it. Do you understand? Otherwise, you just be having one hit wonder everywhere. You just do one good job. Take the person, pay you, thank you very much, and they're off. Thank you, and they're off to the next person. So there are a lot of things to learn, and most of them didn't learn those things. So they're always wondering. They know how to work, they know how to do this and that. There's a lot to be said. I still have a lot to do today, so maybe that's why my head is not picking out so many things. But because I start talking here, we'll not finish from here today. But thank you very much for having me. My name is Onoja Daniel. It's good to be with you. I'll give room for questions, 1 or 2, and then maybe we'll move to the next.
Questions, please.
So,
my name is Jessica. I'm Zakiana. So, sir, thank you for your time.
A mentor. Where are you going to look for your mentor? In search for mentors, have a target. Because that's the only way you move, you list it. And when you go, you look out for those targets in the mentor. You list it. I want to understand the business of photography. 1, I want to get contacts. I want to meet people through him. 2, I'm just giving you an example. I'm not saying that should be your target. You do your list of what you want to achieve or what you want to gain from this mentor you have. 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, you're not achieving them. It's okay to change. It's okay to look for somebody else. Very okay. Now, probably the person's problem was he has a mentor who is not showing him road. Are you getting what I'm saying? He has a mentor who is not showing him road, who is not giving him direction. Now, I'll tell you why that painter is very good and he gives somebody a free painting. And the person will not tell him paint for me. It's because that person has somebody who is painting for him already. Maybe not as good as this person. But that person was introduced to him by maybe one organ that he needs to. If that person here that this person that used to do for me, I'm not doing for me again. No, I'm just saying the link connection. I'm telling you, I'm not giving you a strict example. I'm just giving you an example of how things work. I've experienced it every time. It's like a circle. That is like this. It's like that in politics. You can't get here if somebody don't take you here. And everybody here, use everybody in here. They will not come to you out here. It's for a reason. It's because that person who is painting for him has what he's doing from him, he's buying from him. Maybe not directly, maybe not product. But maybe that person who is painting for him. Every time the person brings the painting, the person gists with him and tells him something and he picks something from that person. And then he goes and make 200 million from that person's idea.
People always buy you first for your product.
Yes. So every time the person sits with him, when the person is bringing his painting, the person that just, that time I went to this place, in Paris, when you go to Paris, there's this place in Paris, where's this thing, if you do this, you do this, you do this, I found this thing. And then he quickly get that knowledge and give the person his 100,000 for painting. And then enter plane and go to Paris and go and do. Now that thing, you don't know, it is a secret that you don't know. Do you understand? But it exists.
It's called rapport.
Rapport.
So, like,
Give it English.
people will naturally buy you
Yes.
first before they buy what you sell.
Exactly.
So
Body.
that's what he's trying to say. The person will not leave maybe a friend who is doing that painting. And
Those are the reasons. Those are some of the reasons why you need a mentor. Do you understand? Who is of the class of body to tell this person that this person too, don't worry, if I'm not making clothes for you, he can make the clothes for you and put food on it. So you first of all be making the money first. That's what I was doing before the name. Because I needed the money at any time of my life. So when I was editing those jobs, I was doing some graphics and things for that guy. He was taking the credit. Who cares? I was getting to know people. I was getting to understand the job better. And at a point, like I said, I inherited a client when he left the country. So these things are the things that I say, the answer to your question is that if you say you have a mentor, who you are not seeing the result, who part of the list, what you went to him for, is to be able to understand the business, is to be able to get access, is to be able to get into this circle because he's in the circle. You need to study your mentor first. Because he's in this circle and you've been going around, you cannot enter because he's there, you need to get into this circle. That's how business is in life. There's a particular, of course, big businesses, and that's Jaro, your question, so that we can. What did he stick the value on his brand, on his product? That value you're talking about is a process, it's a journey. Do you understand? Why a lot of people lose it and miss it is they think that value is a sticker. Or they think if I just change my price to 200,000 naira, people start buying me. Because they are buying body because it's 200,000. It's not true. They're not buying body because his price is high. I knew body when he was in Gwagwalada. I knew when he was making clothes for 5,000 naira. And he didn't make clothes for 5,000, he didn't make clothes for 4,000 for 1 year, he didn't make it for 2 years. Do you understand? He made it for a long time. But I think there was something he was doing. Every businessman has a secret that he was doing and doing it right for that period of time that he was making at a cheap rate. Now that is the process of building that value. Do you get what I'm saying? When I meant add something to your product, I wasn't even talking about the price or something. Sometimes character, sometimes branding, sometimes packaging. Now some people know how to brand their products, but they don't even know how to brand themselves. Some of us were in the category of where we could brand anything for you, but we didn't care about we just.
Always told us what was the fashion show. So he didn't want to participate in the show. I saw him, and the way his talking was, so it's not even looking.
He's not looking like a model, but so he might do a successful fashion show where the models and the people he brought to blow, and he's still where he is.
Yes.
Because he has branding. He set up a brand that some people enjoyed from, but he's not enjoying from it.
So that's the addition to the question here.
Okay.
I think.
Do you understand? And then hope that as I'm growing, and the person is doing for me for cheap. I'll give you an example. My case with the same person. One of my students, a photographer, that came to learn photography with me. You know, the husband brought her. She's a German lady, a white woman, and he was like, they just came back. Oh, things are not too good. Like, he wants the wife to just come and start learning photography. He doesn't have anything now, but maybe, you know, when it's time, he will see what he can do. I said, no problem, let her come. And I started training her, started teaching her and everything. And 2 years after, she was my plug to Julius Berger. After Julius Berger, we were now telling people to go back. They told their German people that they won't pay them there. They won't be paying them in foreign currencies anymore. They won't be paying them in German. They will pay them in Naira. So it's only who wants to take Naira that they can take. A lot of them went back and they started looking for German people who speak German, who whatever you call Dutch or something, in Nigeria that want to work. And she got the job. And they were automatically editing their vendorship and everything like they do after every year and everything. And then she called me, Dan, bring your paper, bring this, photography, video, you know, tax clearance and all. And of course I was prepared. I took it and that's how I got into Julius. So I'm just telling you that I didn't need too many people to get one contact. And when I said I had like 4 people who if they give me a job in a year, Julius Berger is one of them. That once you just do 1 or 2 things for them, it's no problem. Yeah, all right. It was a student that I trained. Not just trained. If you go to for free, yes. You know. Now I can't even call it for free again because afterwards I got more gifts and stuff and everything. But at that point, she just came with her camera. She was working for me. She followed me to events and shows and everything. And number one, I just saw that she too, she could be used to. She was helping me take pictures. She didn't do that for too long before she got the job. And then like 6 months, 7 later, she called me. Now that's the value. Do you understand? That I have achieved, that people said. So don't be too focused on the size or the numbers. Be focused on few quality. Do you get? And when you see that this few quality come back every time, go back to them. Maybe always go back to them. Always try to accommodate them and find how, you can grow with them. Trust me, I don't know how old you are, but when I was 25, or when I was 24, I did my first big job with Nigerian Army when I was 25. I was like, millions or something. But 2 years to when I did that big job, or 1 year to when I got that big job, I was as broke as anything. So it doesn't just happen overnight. So just be consistent. When they say you're consistent, don't give up. Don't say you have done so much and you have not seen results. Probably that's why they say don't give up, because the result might be in front, you don't know. Do you understand? It's going to be help. So like I said, I was living in we had like 8 of us in one room, everything until I got a Nigerian Army job that was the youngest person. The next person was like 45 to something that came to defend the job. And my uncle told me, you have to show for yourself. Of course, what did I use to get the job? Portfolios, profile that I was able to get because I was working under somebody. So the job that I was doing for him was the portfolio that I showed and everything. So I wasn't doing it as my own job, it was his job. When I was coming my portfolio, I had so much on my portfolio as if I was of course I did those jobs, they're all in my hard drives and everything. And when I showed them my jobs and what I did and everything, I was like, no. Of course, back then, 2008, or down bazaar 2008, remember, imagine say for something million was not small money, And that, like I said, 6 months before that time, if you see my shoe, so.
So, like somebody said, I was in Joshua Selman, I said, a minute you're going through.
Yes, it happens. So trust me, you wake up, maybe this is what you're saying today, maybe in another 2 years, you now start seeing the result of what you've done for 5 years or 8 years. Do you understand? Dangote has been working for 30 years. He only became a rich man, the richest man in Nigeria, maybe like 10 years ago. Or he only started cashing out maybe, but he's been in business. I was with his brother, the other guy, what's his name? Not Tata's son, the other day, and he told me full story of how, So let's go on, time is gone. Who else? Any question?